Now that VirtualBox has been installed and we have the ISO file downloaded, I am able to create my virtual machine. To do that, I will go to Start and I'm just going to type Virtual IC Oracle VM VirtualBox. I'm going to right click this and pin to Start, just so I don't have to keep searching for it or going down the menu to find it. So now I have it on my Start menu here. When I open it, the first thing we need to do is create a new virtual machine. I'm going to choose New, and this will ask me what I want to name the virtual machine. I will name this RTS-DC1. The machine folder, we will leave that with the default path. Microsoft Windows, that's what we are installing, and the version, this defaults to Windows 7, but if we scroll down the list, you can see Windows 2019 64-bit. That is what we want. I will choose Next for that. How much memory do we want to assign to this? I'm going to assign 4 gigs, which is 4,096 megabytes. Any less than that and it will run very sluggishly. I'll choose Next. I will create a new virtual hard disk. So we'll click Create. The format of the virtual hard disk will stay on VDI, VirtualBox disk image. The VHD is compatible with Hyper-V, so if you wanted to migrate this from VirtualBox to Hyper-V, if it was a VHD format, you could do that. And VMDK is a VMware format, so if you wanted to migrate this to VMware, you would create a VMDK. But we're not doing either of those, so I will leave this on the default VDI. I'll just choose Next. For the storage, we will leave this on dynamically allocated. Dynamically allocated, as they tell us here, is a disk that is small in size, but the more you save, the larger the disk grows. So it's really only as large as what you have actually saved into it. A fixed disk is a fixed size. So if you created a fixed disk and you made it 50 gigs, it would pull 50 gigs of space from your hard drive and allocate it to itself, whether you use it or not. That is not what I want. I want the dynamically allocated, so be sure you leave that selected. I will choose Next. What size? Since this is dynamically allocated, the size is not relevant. It'll just never grow larger than the number you have defined here. I will click Create, and that takes just a moment, and it creates our virtual machine. Now what I need to do is attach the ISO file. I will click Storage, and you'll see right now, when I open storage here, it has the hard drive, that VDI file. It has this like CD DVD icon that says it's empty. I'm going to choose that. And I'm going to click this icon here with the down arrow, and it will give me a list of all the ISO files it detected. Now, if you don't see this in the list, then you can click Choose a Disk File, and you just browse to the location you saved it to. But if you save it to your desktop, normally you'll see it just show up right here. Well, I will click that. And I will click OK. And we are done creating the virtual machine. Now I am ready to install the operating system. When I click Start, it will begin to power up and it'll connect me to the interface. Now this does say select startup disk. I need to start from the DVD itself. The D drive will be the operating system drive. This is the path to that ISO file. I'm going to choose that ISO file and click Start, and it will just natively boot from the ISO file. That is off and running. Now, one thing that will happen, your cursor will get trapped inside the virtual machine. In VirtualBox, they have what they call a host key, which is the right control key. So here, I will click in the Windows Setup, Language, Time, Currency, Keyboard. I will click Next. I will click Install Now. If your cursor gets stuck in the virtual machine, the right control key on your keyboard is what they call the host key. So if you press the right control key, it will release the mouse, and then you could navigate to wherever you want. I will install Windows Server 2019 Data Center Evaluation Desktop Experience, the last in the list. I'll choose Next. I will accept the license terms. And we are doing a custom install, meaning there's no upgrade. We've created a brand new virtual machine. So I'll click Custom, Install Windows Only. This is the drive that it will install on. I will click Next. And now this will run through this entire process. It will reboot. Then it will ask us for our administrator username and password. Once that happens, the installation is complete. My virtual machine has now rebooted and it's prompting me to set the administrator password. I'll enter the password. And the installation is complete. This will carry me directly to the desktop. So at this point, you have successfully installed your copy of Windows Server 2019.